So what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Today we've got another great guest on. So he's a personal trainer. He's also a powerlifter. He also looks like Thor, Mr. Francis Melia. How you doing, man?
All right, mate. Good to be here.
Amazing, man. No, it's great to have you on, man. I've been a big fan of your work on Twitter, and you're one of the few people on Twitter fitness that actually lifts, man, which is great. So
It's a change, doesn't it?
it makes a change. Yeah, it makes a change. Good to see someone with some skin in the game, which is great. So Francis, tell me a bit about yourself, man, and for the audience, just a little bit of an intro.
Basically, I'm a personal trainer, one-to-one coach when the gyms are open. Obviously, with the lockdowns around here now, I can't do that. But that's why I transferred into Twitter. I'm trying to build an online brand and branch out into online coaching. And also on top of that, I'm a competitive powerlifter. Hopefully, I'll be able to compete this year once this COVID blows over. Hopefully, it does. But yeah, I'm just basically into me training and me coaching. And that's me in a nutshell, really.
Nice, man. That's great. That's sick. And I actually came across your page through the transformation photo that you posted. That got quite a bit of traction. And I saw on there you got quite a bit of shit on there, didn't you, from people? Talk to me through that.
Well, it's a lot of the comments on Twitter. It's most people are positive, aren't they? It is a good platform. But you get the odd dickhead who wants to put you down. And the amount of comments I was getting for people were saying I was on gear and TRT. It's just insane. It's like people don't realise that I've actually trained for nearly a decade now. And that 18-week transformation, when you know what you're doing and you've got some good muscle mass on you, it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
People are just small-minded, aren't they? It's weird what people will say.
100%. I think it's a lack of, it's two things, isn't it? It's small-mindedness and a lack of knowledge as well, man. You know, people that haven't trained, that haven't put the work in, or haven't maybe experienced sort of health and fitness properly, will straight away make assumptions. So I always kind of smile at them whenever I get those kind of accusations. But I could tell from my point of view, as someone that's kind of trained a lot of people, that, you know, that's definitely achievable in 18 weeks naturally, that it's just a case of dieting and staying committed.
I know. What people don't realise is that once you've built a good foundation of muscle and strength, dieting is quite easy. It really is. You just got to flick the switch and do what needs to be done, but which people don't want to do.
100%. And I think you touched on a good point there about kind of building muscle mass from a young age, because you see typically a lot of guys that start out, they just chase the kind of skinny abs and that kind of look, right? And I remember being that guy as well, but I had no muscle on my frame. And it's a big mistake because within kind of your first, year of training, you can put on crazy amount of muscle, man, like 20 to 25 pounds naturally, right? That's a crazy amount. But you really do have to devote yourself to kind of lifting heavy progressively, eating a lot of food, and it's difficult, man. You're going to reach some plateaus, and it's not, it's one of those hard things that you're gonna have to do, but it will set you up well for later on down the line when you kind of want to cut.
Definitely. I think that's one of the main things which holds a lot of lifters back, is that they're too scared to lose their abs and gain any sort of fat. I'm not saying you don't need to become a big fucking bloated seal and become excessively fat, but there's no harm in gaining a little bit of fat and losing a little bit of ab definition in order to gain some strength and size, because that's what sets your foundation as a lifter. And that's what a lot of people struggle with. They don't want to do the basic stuff, get stronger on your squats, bench and deadlifts, or your basic movements. If you progress on them over a couple of years and eat more food, you're going to be jacked, and that's what you need to do.
Yeah, 100%. And you're right, you can't be scared of getting a little bit fluffy and doing kind of the unsexy stuff for a bit. Like I remember there was a period for kind of like 2 years where I was just eating lots and just getting stronger on the main compounds, and like I was just repeating the same lifts every week, man, trying to progress and get stronger. And people think you need these fancy training programs, these fancy variations. It's not true, right? Wow. It's all about just progressive overload, eating more, recovering, and give it some time, you'll look pretty decent.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, do you? The main exercises have been working for a long time. So why do people think that they're any different now? Because we're not. We just need to do the basic stuff for a long period of time. I think I put a tweet out the other day, and it's got a bit of traction. I said something: if you really want to be super fucking strong, live for 10 years, and that's it. It's the truth.
Yeah.
That doesn't sell any ebooks or doesn't sell any products.
No.
10 years, does it? But that's the truth.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people, especially these days, they want that kind of like quick fix and the quick pill, right?
Yeah,
That's going to make them, you see it in a lot of things in a career, within the relationships, within fitness. Everybody just wants it to happen straight away. And you got to do your time in the trenches, man. Like
yeah,
I always say that, wherever you are, you got to put the work in. After time, after the hard work, you can then think about, maybe taking a shorter route or, taking a shortcut. But until then, man, you got to be fucking getting your head down and just
yeah,
being in the
exactly.
trenches. Yeah.
There's no shortcuts in the strength game or training game. There really isn't. You've got to put in the work. It won't be handed to you. There's no hacks or shortcuts. You've just got to put in the hard ass work for a long time. Simple as.
Yeah. 100%. And that's why I was very attracted to kind of your content, because I very much have this similar mindset in lots of things. And it kind of pisses me off when I see other coaches saying that you can do this 30-day diet, or you can do this, build this amount of muscle in a certain period of time. And it's kind of like, well, a lot of that is not the truth, man. It's not the way that the world works. And, I know people try to market themselves, but, it's so far from the truth. I can't stand by that, really.
Yeah, it's total bullshit. Like that's what I'm trying to build my whole brand around. It's just no bullshit information. I'm trying to sift through all the shit that's out there. I'm genuinely just trying to help people with the clear and concise, no bullshit information, because that's what's going to help people in the long run. Not 30-day transformations and juice plus and detox pills. It's just bullshit. It really is.
Yeah, I 100% agree, man. I love that. Talk me through powerlifting then, man. So when did you start getting into powerlifting to begin with?
So I've been training now for nearly 9 years, not far off 9 years. And for the first 5 or 6 years, I was just doing what we've been saying, just progressively getting stronger, doing the basics. But then I wanted a bit of a competitive outlet, because coming from school and playing football, and when that sort of stops, you don't really have the competitive outlet. So I was looking into powerlifting and thought, right, so that sounds like a bit of me, that I'd jump on the platform and lift some heavy weights. So I got into doing it. I done my first competition 3 years ago, and ever since I've done it, I just got hooked on it, because your training has a new purpose, a new meaning behind it. You're constantly training and grafting, so when you step on that platform to go for a new 1 rep max, and it intrigued me from the start.
Sick, amazing. That's so cool. And I had a question regarding kind of training for powerlifting. So a lot of potentially the audience, they train for kind of body transformation, which is a different style of training compared to kind of powerlifting.
Yeah.
So kind of what are the main differences that you found?
So with powerlifting, it's a lot more specific on the squat, bench, deadlift, the big three. Specificity is king. You've got to practice the lifts. And obviously, as you get closer to a meet, the intensity on the actual lifts will rise a lot higher, where you're doing lots of sets of 3, lots of sets of 5, lower reps. It's not as much bodybuilding work when you're in the prep for a competition. But whereas 6 to 8 months out from a competition, you might train like a bodybuilder for a bit. It's periodized training where you'll do a bit of a volume phase, and then you might transfer into a strength phase, and then you might spend a month to 6 weeks where you taper and then you peak to really get the neurological gains for when you step on the platform. So it's powerlifting training. It is periodized and regimented in a set fashion, and that's what intrigues me as well, because I like a plan. I can't just go in the gym and do what I feel like on that day. I'm very regimented in, I've got my plan. This is my plan for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Now I know what I've got to do. That's just the way my mind works, and it's powerlifting suits me very well for that.
Yeah, for sure. Now that makes a lot of sense, man. And I find that with kind of when you train bodybuilding, you can kind of get away with going into the gym and doing kind of whatever and having that flexibility. Whereas when you're powerlifting, you're working towards, percentages of your 1 rep max, I assume. And, like you said, working towards a specific amount of volume and lifts each week to prepare you kind of for competition.
Yeah, that's the main difference with bodybuilding. Obviously the best bodybuilders, they will have a sort of a plan in place. But just the normal bros around the gym, you can go in and get a sick pump on your chest and arms, and you can come out and you're good to go. But with powerlifting, it's a little bit different. Yeah,
for sure, man. No, that makes a lot of sense. And regarding kind of plateaus for strength, so a lot of my audience, I get so many questions asking, hey, man, I've made some progress, but now, I can't get any stronger, and, I just want to progress. I don't know what to do. So from your experience, what would some good advice be to those guys, and how would you kind of break through a plateau for strength?
So I think sometimes when people think about strength, all they want to do is heavy lifts. They'll do plenty of sets of 1 to 5, right? A lot of low rep ranges, and they'll constantly hammer that out for a long period of time, and they'll hit a wall. One of the best things that I find that people can do once you reach a certain level, you need to back off and go through a volume phase. Lots of sets of 8 to 10 plus. You really drive that volume, because if you build a bigger muscle has the potential to be a stronger muscle. So if you spend a dedicated 3 to 6 months in a hypertrophy phase of training, and then you transfer back into lower reps and a strength phase, that new muscle that you've built, now it's ready to make neurological adaptations and get stronger. So you've got to do the dirty work in the trenches in order to build a stronger peak. It's like, I always look at it like a pyramid. Your hypertrophy work is the bottom. You've got to lay the foundations and do the dirty work. Because let's be honest, sets of 10 on squats sucks. It's grim.
Yeah.
But you've got to do that work for a period of time to then build up to be doing sets of 5 and triples to get stronger. So that's the way I like to manipulate my training, and that's a periodized plan that I'd always follow, and that's what I'd recommend to people.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's so important to actually build the muscle so you can build the strength, right? And I think a lot of people sometimes forget that it's not just, you know, trying to progress on the 4 and 5 reps. It's about building a solid foundation. You know, let's say you want to improve your squat, right? And your squat's not very good and you struggle at the bottom. Well, that tells me that you need to build stronger hamstrings. You need to build stronger glutes. Yeah. So you need to be doing more hip thrusts. You need to be doing more heavy RDLs, right? And, you know, even like you said, going into those high rep ranges, which is that it sucks, man. High rep legs fucking sucks, man. I'll tell you that. I fucking hate it, man. But it's going to, again, build you that foundation to then kind of pack on that strength. It's going to help those stabilizer muscles, you know, get stronger. And it's just a good way to kind of start building.
Definitely. And it's just, and also your body just, becomes accustomed to what you keep throwing at it. If you just keep doing loads of strength work, your body just adapts. You need that variation from time to time to switch things up and throw a new stimulus to the body. That's how it works. You don't change things weekly and every sort of 4 weeks, but after a period of months, if you've been doing the same thing, something needs to change because your body adapts.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the same applies to kind of like a hypertrophy phase as well. So you get a lot of guys that, you know, can't build any more muscle, or they're hitting a plateau there, but they're just sticking to 8 to 10 reps. Yeah. You know, what I advise is you need to potentially build in some kind of power building, right? Where you're doing a little bit of powerlifting and a little bit of hypertrophy. So like switching up that intensity, doing some like 5-6 reps, like bench. Like you will never have touched that weight before if you didn't go down to 6 reps. And you know, that again, adaptation, that change in intensity is going to make you stronger in that hypertrophy phase, which is then going to help you get some gains and just get much stronger, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's it. There's a lot of like research in the science which is coming out, which is actually it's saying that. So after a prolonged period of hypertrophy work, if you spend 3 or 4 months in a higher volume phase, if you spend a month or 2 in a lower volume phase and a strength phase, it helps to potentiate further hypertrophy gains in the future, which that's where a periodized plan again comes into place. And I think after a couple of years of training and you become to your intermediate level, you really need to start thinking about a plan because it makes such a difference. It really does.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I think you can get away with it in your first couple of years, that kind of linear progression, because you have so much potential to build strength and size, but you will hit that wall when it comes to a point. And that is when a structured training program, you know, taking a coach on, doing more research becomes really, really important.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 100%, man. Great. And my next question, man, was around kind of nutrition for powerlifting. So this has always intrigued me. I guess you compete at like a certain weight, right, when you lift. So I guess you can't eat too much because you'll be too heavy, but you also don't want to be too light. So how does kind of that work, man?
Well, currently, because of my height, I'm 6'4", so I'm one of the big boys in the weight classes. So in the federation I compete in, you've got the 120 kilo weight class and the 120 kilo plus. And that's my long-term home. That's the type of frame I'm trying to fill out. So in order for me to fill 120 kilos out properly, that's going to take a long ass time because at the moment I'm probably 103 kilos and I'm pretty lean. I'm not fat. I'm not shredded. I'm in a decent state for muscle building where I'm at now. But I'm not going to gain 17 kilos of muscle and be lean at 120 in a year. That's probably going to take me 10 years. So I might not fully fill my weight class out until I'm 35. That's genuinely a possibility. But so because I've got that leeway of I'm trying to fill out 120 kilos, I'm just going through a phase of trying to slowly put as much size on as I possibly can without getting fat. I'll do that for a couple of months. I might do a little mini cut, and then I repeat the whole process each 6 months if I can be a little bit bigger and stronger, and cut back a little bit, and just keep repeating that process until I can eventually try and fill this weight class out. This is going to take a long time.
Yeah, for sure, man. Because obviously, you're probably in the most heaviest weight class, right? With what you do.
Well, the 120 plus is the heaviest, but so the second heaviest is the 120. So yeah, I'm in the big boys weight class. The big boys.
Shit, man, that's crazy. And what kind of lifts are like what are some of your best lifts, or like in your category? What's kind of the benchmarks that people are aiming for?
So I think the world champion, his name's Tony Cliff. He's from the UK. He's brilliant. He's the best 120 kilo powerlifter, and he's from the northwest as well. So I actually know Tony as well. So it's good to have
nice.
people like that around. So he won IPF Worlds last year. I'm trying to think of what his lifts were. I'm sure he squatted like 340 kilos.
Shit, man.
He can bench 250 kilos, and he deadlifts like 360. So that's the type of beast that you're up against in that weight class. It's crazy, man. Absolute beasts.
Yeah, animals, man. That's fucking crazy. It kind of makes me laugh because you get these guys on Twitter, man, that make out that they're like these strength experts and these strength coaches, and it's a completely different world when you kind of look at competitive powerlifting. Like I sometimes think, oh, I'm quite strong with like I do a 180 squat, but then you look at these guys that are powerlifting, and they'd laugh at that, man. Do you know what I mean? It's just it's a different kind of different beast.
It's crazy. I thought I was strong until I got into powerlifting, and then you realise that you're just a small fish in a big pond. It's crazy, but that helps you get better. I'm surrounding myself with people who are stronger than me, and I've also got a coach as well. So it's good. Us coaches also have coaches. It goes to show that we believe in having a coach behind us. And my coach he's much stronger than me. He's got much more experience than me. So there's no better person to learn off than that. That's the way I like to look at it.
Yeah, 100%. Like having in any field, kind of, business, whatever, having a mentor or a coach is so important, even if you coach other people yourself, because there's levels to every game, right? Yeah. And that's going to help you move up. And is your coach, is he a specific powerlifting coach then as well?
Yeah, he's a powerlifting coach. He's also competed in IPF Worlds, which is that's the top. The top stage you can get to as a competitive powerlifter over here. IPF Worlds, it's like the Olympics of powerlifting, basically. That's what it is, and that's something that I'd love to try and get to over the next 10 years if I could.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's sick. And what are some of your PRs then for squat, bench, dead?
So last time I competed was last December, so it's been over 13 months since I last competed, obviously with the whole COVID situation that came into place in March. So back then, the last best lifts, our squat was 237.5 kilos.
Wow.
Bench is 152.5 kilos, and deadlift is 270 kilos. But I know next time I compete, they'll be much higher because my training blocks recently have been phenomenal. And there's definitely, next time I do compete, I'm going to be looking to blow my old total out the water, which I'm looking forward to.
Sick, man. Yeah, you're going to smash that. That's sick. And I had a question regarding, so for the audience, I get a lot of questions regarding kind of wearing supporting, like knee sleeves, belts and stuff like that when doing heavy lifts. What do you think the benefit are, of that for people when they're kind of pushing those heavy lifts?
So the knee sleeves, so you've got two things you can wear around your knees depending on what federation you're in within powerlifting. You've got knee sleeves, which are just like neoprene knee sleeves, which will generally, all they do is help keep your knees warm and get them supply you a bit of warmth around your knee joints. It feels better, it really does. And it doesn't help you lift any more weight than neoprene knee sleeves. People might say they do, but they don't. It's just a bit of support. The ones that will provide you more support to lift more weight are knee wraps. Have you seen knee wraps?
Yeah, I've seen the wraps, yeah.
They provide us like much more support, and a lot of people, you can probably get anywhere from 10 to 20% more weight if you lift them with knee wraps. But I just specifically use knee sleeves just to keep my knees warm. And in regards to a belt is just to help increase intra-abdominal pressure and brace your spine and keep everything locked in. nice and tight. But you've got to learn how to use the belt properly. I see a lot of people who, if you've seen them gold gym belts that people wear, they're pointless. They don't do nothing. They've got no support all the way around. You want to get yourself a nice thick belt, and you need to learn how to use it properly. As if you're going to get punched in the stomach and you really brace into it. That's one of the things I see, is that people will buy belts, but they don't know how to utilise them, and that's, you're getting nothing out of it then. So if you do buy a belt, spend the time learning to use it properly.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a good point you made there about kind of bracing, because a lot of people, especially with when they start out, they think that they have to breathe in and suck in when they're trying to lift, but you should actually be bracing, and that's a different kind of way of breathing than kind of just trying to suck in, because if you suck in, that's actually going to make you weaker when you come down. Bracing is going to give you a solid kind of midsection, and that's going to help you when you're kind of driving up to do that. I think before you even get involved in kind of using belts or using anything like that, master the basics again, going back to the start and making sure that you can do this nice and consistently.
Yeah, definitely. It's the basics over everything. Learn. Don't worry about all fancy. You see people who are buying squat shoes and Olympic lifting shoes, and they're buying the best of gear. Don't worry about that. Just get yourself a basic belt, and if you want some knee sleeves, and learn how to lift properly over a period of years. And then if you want to fall out on a bit more expensive gear, well then fine, do that. But coming into the lifting game straight away, you don't need to be buying all sorts of expensive equipment. It's not needed.
Yeah, agreed, man. 100%. And the audience that I have here, a lot of the guys are kind of busy professionals, so guys that kind of sit at a desk all day. What would your kind of like lifting and nutrition advice be for them? Going forward, quite busy, trying to improve posture, trying to improve just movement and things like that.
If they only had, say they had three 45-minute workouts that they could get in a week, if that's all someone could do, I'd hammer like 3 probably full body workouts, and I'd get them doing the basic lifts, squat, benches and deadlifts, your presses, rows. I'd get it done as fast as we could. 3 45-minute sessions a week. I think there's no point in then coming in and doing bicep curls and tricep push downs. There's just genuinely no point. I'd have them coming in, hit the basics and get out. I'd also see, one of the big things that I utilise with myself and with clients is, if you're trying to get in better shape, doing 10,000 steps a day minimum is what I like to prescribe to people with. It helps burn extra calories, you're getting the activity levels up, and you might be able to eat a little bit more food by having your activity levels up throughout the day. So that's one thing that I'd recommend, is 3 short lifting sessions and 10,000 steps a day. And make sure you're in a calorie deficit, obviously, as we know.
Yeah, for sure, man. Those are great ones. I think walking is such an underrated thing, man. Like I've never seen someone that walks a lot. I've never seen like an overweight or fat person that walks a lot, man. And that says a lot. It's one of the best forms of exercise, especially if you are starting out and you're not, maybe your fitness levels aren't that high or your cardiovascular output isn't that high. Walking will do wonders for you, man. Seriously, it's going to improve your posture. It's going to clear your head when you've been working lots during the course of the day. And it's just like a good sort of foundation for them building too. Because I think that's another good point is, if you're doing a lot of heavy weight training, let's say you're training 4 or 5 days in the week, you want your cardio to actually be the opposite of that, right? So you want to be able to recover. So I always recommend, if you're doing 5-6 days heavy lifting, you need to be doing some low intensity cardio, and you shouldn't be battering yourself with HIIT, because if you do, what's going to happen is you're going to not be able to recover. You're going to get injured, a lot of negative niggles and things like that. And it's just not good. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
That's what I do. That's my procedure. So I'll train 5 days a week, and I don't do any HIIT. I used to do HIIT years ago when I wasn't into powerlifting. I used to love things like hill sprints. I think they're a fantastic movement. If you can find a steep hill and you can run up it a few times, that's great for conditioning. But it doesn't bode well with powerlifting training, because doing things like that is going to take away from my ability to recover for powerlifting training. So I train 5 days a week, and every single day I'll hit 10,000 steps every day. I do plenty of walking. I put a tweet out before saying I start my day off with a morning walk. That's routine. I'll get a couple of thousand steps in straight away of a morning. And then throughout the day and throughout the night, I'll just take little walks wherever I need to be, or if I'm active in the gym. I always track my steps. And I think by doing you're getting your step count up as well, especially with powerlifting. It also helps with fresh blood flow around your body and active recovery. and it keeps your cardiovascular fitness up. So it's a win-win situation. The benefits of walking are fantastic. Really
Yeah.
are.
100%. Like, I think you made a good point there about kind of the active recovery side of it, kind of flushing out the lactic acid from your body and just, getting yourself back into kind of a normal state, right? Because powerlifting is very intense. It's going to stress your central nervous system a lot. And then just doing a walk will kind of complement that nicely.
Yeah, so that's why I do it. I always feel much better and looser after I've been walking. Sometimes after a heavy squat or deadlift workout, you can wake up the next morning and you don't feel the best. You feel a bit tight, your hamstrings are sore. You get a little 20-minute walk in and you feel like a new man. Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, 100% agree with that. And Francis, what are your goals then for kind of the future? You spoke about powerlifting there. What are kind of the personal training side? You said you were looking to do some online coaching as well.
Yeah.
Talk me through that, man.
Well, currently at the moment with the gym shut, I can't personal train one-to-one. So with the last lockdown, which happened in March and in the summer, I started trying to really grow my Twitter account to promote online training.
Sure.
And I've got a good few clients now on online coaching. So that's taken off. So it's genuinely just about over the next year, I genuinely just would like to just keep building that. I produced an ebook about 6 weeks ago, and I released that, and that's had a good bit of traction as well. So basically, my whole goals would to be within the next year or two, if I could just solely transfer over into making a living just solely online, I'd love to do that. I could be able to work from anywhere in the world, especially with the way the UK is going at the moment. South America is becoming a lot very appealing to me.
South America sounds good, doesn't it? Yeah.
I've seen a lot of the Twitter bros saying about
it. Lawrence
America.
King, especially. He's We need to get out there, man, for sure.
Yeah, it's genuinely it's on the top of my mind now. Really, something that could seriously be happening, because I think the UK at the moment it doesn't look good, does it?
No, man. No, not at all, man. I've been planning kind of my escape as well, because I'm online as well. So I think being solely online is kind of the goal, especially with the pandemic, man. I think it's taught us that you need to have some kind of income coming in online, or be able to utilize the fact that things won't be as location based anymore, man.
I seen you in Dubai the other month.
I was, yeah.
How long do you spend over there?
I was there for a month, man. Yeah.
Was it good?
It was wicked, man. Yeah. It was like one part of the world that wasn't doesn't feel like it's shut down and affected by COVID. So yeah, it's beautiful, man. Yeah.
I see all your pictures. Like, fucking hell, he's living a life there.
Yeah, came back with a pretty empty bank account after. So been laying low for a little bit and trying to build that back up. But no, it's always worth it, man. I love travel. I love the warm climates and shit, and that's one of the big reasons why I had a online business, because I want to do all that stuff, man. The potential is great.
We'll be in Brazil in the next year. That's the plan.
Man. Yeah. Brazil, South America, Costa Rica. I want to go to all these places.
Yeah, man. I'm sure Lawrence is in Uruguay. You don't pay taxes or something.
No, yeah, that's another thing. We need to stop paying tax as well, man. That's another thing we need to do. Yeah, I think the plan is now get jacked, go to South America, online business, don't pay tax, get a nice Latina girlfriend, and then we're sorted, man.
Yeah, that's the one.
Hey, that's the dream of it.
That's the plan, man.
Let's do it, man. We've got it sorted, man. That's our plans.
Honestly, that's 100% the plan.
Yeah, love it, man. Sick. So, Francis, before we round off, man, I just want to, plug where people can find you, your Twitter, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so basically at the moment, I'm solely mainly just on Twitter at Coach FHM. So I have got Instagram, but I don't really use it that much. So, but yeah, just at Twitter at Coach FHM. I'm looking to try and really build this Twitter account over the next year. Let's see if we can. You're on 13k followers now, aren't you?
13k, man. Yeah.
So I've got 6.5. Let's see if you can get you to 20 this year, and I'll try and get 10k plus 15. 10 to
15, for sure. Let's fucking do it. Yeah, for sure. So definitely check out Francis on Instagram, on Twitter, guys. His content's great. No nonsense, a lot of the stuff that I preach. So check him out. And man, big thank you for coming on today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Enjoyed it.